Greetings, everybody. Good greetings to you all. This is another coverage for Manfred Meters at A, and long time coming, but we're here to make amends for everything that's been missed already. I know I've been gone for a month or so on a hiatus of a bit because I've been trying to come back into myself and really align Manfred Meters ethos and vision to a better alternative, and pushing it forward in a better light. And because of it, I guess the reviews, the interviews have suffered the biggest parts because the website has been really much producing for the past month or so, but still here, still in the current aspects. I think I'm really falling in love with the process of making it out of the mud, standing firm to the slogan. We out here find the culture of making it out of the mud. Mudfoot Media to you live and direct. Excuse that. This morning, actually, right now, I just woke up not so long ago and I was like, let me just get this over and done with, because really though, I don't give myself enough time to be doing a lot of these things. But as the more I force myself, the more it happens, I guess. So here we are. So let's get into the introduction, formally so. And good greetings once again. The name is Mano Maporo. I'm the founder and also creative director, marketer, writer, critique, heads of many heads, basically. Welcome to our brand new podcast, Soundwave Sessions. Okay, but Soundwave Sessions this time we're gonna give it a different feel, because initially it was just interviews, bringing people to come over, discuss the music, discuss the sound, discuss the path and so on, just to understand the artist as a whole. But this time around, I guess it's gonna be more like audio formats. Maybe I should have started this a long time ago, but here we are today. So we're gonna be starting a new audio podcast where we're gonna be discussing a lot of issues, a lot of topics that I feel like deserve attention with this up and coming era we're in. The essay alternative scene is popping, rightfully so. Artists day by day are getting their shine. I feel like we're in the time whereby everybody's coming to the light now. Everything's coming to the light. And you can see with the type of acts, with the type of artists which are really getting their shine and getting their most highly respected acclaim for their work that they've been doing countlessly throughout the years and so let's get down to it. So we're diving deep into the hearts of African music and culture, and today kicking things off with a crucial conversation about the South African alternative music scene. Now, before we get into the meats of it all, let's remember why we're here. Manfred Meters today is about celebrating the incredible talent coming out of Africa. We're about giving a platform to voices that need to be heard and fostering a community that truly appreciates the richness of our artistic expression. For our inaugural audio podcast, I wanted to address something that's been bubbling up in the alternative scene, particularly within rock, which is drug glorification. It's a complex issue, and we need to talk about it honestly. We're seeing a trend where substance use is being romanticized in lyrics and imagery, often acknowledging their serious consequences. It's not about censorship, it's about responsibility, actually. As creatives, we have a platform and we need to be mindful of the messages we're sending, especially to the younger audiences. We'll be discussing the impact this has on the youth, the need for more nuanced storytelling, and the ways to support artists who are struggling with addiction. We're not just here to point out problems, want to be part of the solution. Hence the slogan, we out here refining the culture every single day. But we're not just here to point out problems, as I said before. So alongside this crucial conversation, we'll also be touching on other vital topics that will benefit both artists and listeners alike. This topic arises after my recent deep dive into this tape, actually. The South African group, it's a trio from Cape Town, actually. They're called Internet Girl. Not to say that we out here trying to be negative towards their music, but they are really a really, really cool group, I have to say. From the first few times I started stumbling upon them on the media, to how I've been seeing them grow their name, how I've been seeing them perform all around the world, how I've been seeing them grow their reach in every single approach they have, And I feel like in the same sense, they are a very splitting and more vivid image of what God can be here in SA, And just to even think that they're one of the few artists who are really out here doing it every single time and showing us that rock really has a possible home here in Africa, So this happened after a deep dive of their latest release, the EP Role Model. Yeah, particularly the lyrics that they used, the stories that they decided to tell, how it was relating to people, how it was related to addiction, how it was relating to the music as a whole, and it just really got me thinking again, because I was I was asking a couple of my friends yo, so what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Just for me to really come back here and really portray everything that I feel needs to be addressed, But nonetheless, I'm gonna play the song. Yeah, so we're focusing on a potentially uncomfortable truth, the romanticization of drugs within the South African alternative rock scene. It's a topic that demands nuance, not knee-jerk reactions. Rock music has a long, storied history with rebellion, pushing boundaries, and being very, very different, But there's a difference between artistic expression and irresponsible glorification. We're seeing a pattern where lyrics and imagery often depict substance use as cool, almost unnecessary, part of the rock and roll lifestyle. This can be incredibly damaging, especially to young, impressionable listeners who may not fully understand the consequences. We need to ask ourselves, are we creating art that reflects the realities of addiction, or are we perpetuating a dangerous myth? Are we providing a space for artists to explore these themes responsibly, or are we simply reinforcing harmful stereotypes? The potential of rock music to carve out its own dedicated fanbase in Africa is immense. We have a rich history of protest music, and rock and its raw energy and emotional intensity can be a powerful vehicle for expressing the frustrations and aspirations of our generation. I mean, think back to how rock was used back in the States, back in the blues era, back in the funk days. It wasn't even rock, it was in the early stages of sound, of bands coming together and make music, And in most cases, rock was always seen as that type of music whereby people who are not so good in the head would listen to, And it was phrased like that for the longest time. it's not really benefiting the people today, in my view. I mean, some things we learn over the years, over our lifetimes, are just meant to be learned so that we can be stuck in a similar position, And I feel like it's the same thing with rock. I feel like rock is not really given the space for its artists to really like fledge out, express themselves for who they are authentically, without like the glorification of like their vices, sex, money, drugs, and which is like the usual vices in most songs: sex, money, drugs, And I feel like it's going forward in a very, very, very bad way. It's not really helping the listeners to like gain any perspective from it. Maybe like the listeners gaining perspective on how to live life on a high, basically. But it's not really building upon a change that's really gonna create something substantial for the people. If you catch my drift. And also recently, we've been seeing a rise in bands blending traditional African rhythms and melodies with classic rock sounds, creating something truly unique and exciting. But the glorification of drug use threatens to undermine this potential. It risks alienating potential fans who are concerned about the message being sent. It can also create a culture where artists feel pressure to engage in substance use in order to fit in or to be seen as authentic. Now let's continue about the obstacles faced by musicians in Africa. It's no secret that the industry is tough, especially for those working outside the mainstream. Limited access to funding, lack of infrastructure, and dominance of certain genres can make it incredibly difficult to break through. And I feel like a lot of the same reasons that we come back to like the drug use, we come back to why we need to feel numb. It's because of the societal like problems we be facing on a daily basis, As I said before, as creators, we really be out here doing the most, trying to carve out a story that can be told and really reflect the times we're in, And also, I feel like it's also powerful to even state the fact that the performance by Kendrick Lamar in the Super Bowl, you see, that is like very, very, very genuine and very, 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 how can I say? It really encapsulates the whole motto of what an artist should be and what an artist's mission should be, Because far from the performance being entertaining, it had so much symbolism, it had so much messages so that people could understand about what world we're living in. Just like praising people for the next thing that's gonna happen, type stuff, and it really paved the way for many artists like today, in my view. Also me, I'm also like targeted in that space because it really like paved the way for us to really like be more, what's this word I'm looking for, to be more confident in our arts, to be more confident in our form of expression, and actually get out there and actually showcase what we're trying to breed into the world, the type of life we're trying to breed into the world, But going back to the problems we face as creators, it's damaging to say the least. It's really damaging to say the least. Now, let's just come back and just like talk about some of the pointers that I've pointed out here, which like I feel like they are the driving factors for almost all carnage, almost all misdirection that you may feel you may be hearing from songs, from the lyrics, from the artists, the way they live their lives, and so on, And one of the most, one of the most easiest ones to pin out is the financial constraints that we may be facing day to day, like marketing, a lot of money, recording, it's a lot, mastering is a lot. Like everything is demands you to have funds to support yourself in this part you're in. And especially if you're like a mainstream, like a independent artist, like the costs have been intensified to a whole new level, you know. I mean, we can always take up stories of A Reese and say, yeah, man, this is how you do it. This is how you're gonna pave your way. Or you can always take stories from like Mark Homie. You can always take stories from Boldy James, Mark Marciano. You know, we can always listen to their stories and be like, okay, this is how you carve out your way as an independent artist, you know. And I feel like one of the artists really brought that into full light and made people like more wanting to run the shit on their own. I think it was Sleepsy Hustles, and he was sacrificed because of it, type shit. And also, I'm not trying to push a certain narrative. This is only my beliefs and what I think. So if it bothers you, of course, you just let me know and we'll have it arranged. But nonetheless, it's really something that needs to be attended to. But yeah, so when it comes to many talented artists, you know, the struggle to afford studio time, equipment, and marketing resources, this can hinder the ability to produce high quality music and reach a wider audience, you know. And I've seen this in a lot of like artists that I've been like meeting day to day, trying to understand the ethos, trying to understand how they building their craft, you know. And one of the reasons that you find them not doing all the things that they want to do is because of financial constraints. You know, financially, everything is just straining, everything is just expensive. You know, and we out here trying to like carve our ways to the life that we deserve, but everything is just too demanding. You know, and I feel like that's also something else that like stops us from actually reaching our fullest potential. You know. Also, another thing I've noticed is the limited venue availability. You know, like finding suitable venues for live performances can be a challenge, especially in smaller towns and cities. We have to give props where it's due though. Spaces like Nerobai, spaces like Bacon Basque, like spaces like what was that thing? Basement. I lost it. Excuse me to that to the foundation of the basement performances and stuff. But yeah, also them like you really like find a certain identity when you go to the type of event and you really like see what the artists are in their most authentic way, you know. And I feel like these type of spaces are creating a culture in the music scene, which is like fostering more of like culture preservation. We're finding our craft, we're finding our music, and actually following what is not really mainstream, but what is known to a certain few, a group that feels like it's understood, you know. And with many artists, when it comes to like starting off, trying to get their names out here, getting those performances, that's like the usual problem. They never really have like their suitable location. It's gonna be accommodating for everybody, or it really takes a long period of time for you to build up that research for you to really be like, you know what, after these research, I feel like we can go to A, this has more potential of succeeding, and so on and so on. Because the other thing, you can never really be sure about what people be feeling on the day, or you never really be sure about what people can wanna do on the day, basically. Like for example, your event is happening, the other guy's event is happening over there. Piano, groove, you know, there's a lot of challenges happening, and there's a lot of like competition at the same time. You know, and you're out here trying to just carve your way in the most authentic way, trying to like push your performances to your people, but you may find on the days you choose, it's not the right day, or the location you chose is just too far for many people. You know, like those type of problems, I feel like they always like have an underlying facts in like building upon that, you know. And also just a personal story. I've been in a similar situation for that, you know. just trying to like work with a certain group, trying to create an event that's gonna like foster our names into the record books, you know. But like the logistics are so like unbearable at times, you know. I don't know how we struggled. We struggled for like at least 3 weeks to find a suitable location. And even the location we found was even too far for many people. Many people didn't even pitch because it was too far. And also the other stress we had was our New Year's party, so we had to make sure that everything was perfect, and it was just giving ourselves too much pressure for no apparent reason. Honestly, we were just giving ourselves too much pressure to be really finishing what we were trying to achieve at the time. And yeah, and like one of the hardest problem was the venue, because we ended up finding it in a very far place. Yeah, it was cool, it was nice, but it was too far. People didn't catch on, and it failed as a result, you know. Yeah, so lesson learned. And there's also like a lack of industry support. I mean, like the absence of established record labels, management companies, and promoters can make it difficult for artists to navigate the industry. Also, you know, I mean, like, but there's only a certain few artists who are really like picked out and like signed to a certain label, or picked out and be like, you know what, we can really invest in this type of artist and see how it grows going forward. I mean, look, for example, Sony has Tony Sabatelli, Filala, Big the Big Hash, you know, Stay Low has Mars Baby, has Ginger Trail, it has wait, I'm forgetting this other guy. Oh yeah, she's not a guy. She's actually a chick. Lord Keys. Yeah, stay lowly, and you know, like what else? But you get the gist. Like certain like industry boards or music heads are like slowly catching up to like the new wave and bringing them to shows, bringing them to the lights, and making sure that the music is getting the love it deserves, you know. And I feel like it's about time, honestly, because like we've been like creating, we've been out there making sure that people be catching on, and I feel like at this time period, it's the perfect time for this to happen, you know. But yeah, there's a small number that's changing, you know, day by day. I feel like more and more artists being discovered through like those small like industry supports, like from promoters from these small companies, you know, and so on. And I even like noticed like even noticed Neroba is also sponsored by BOS IC, Boss IC, you know. Like that's like another form of industry support that you get from like people who really trust your ethos and really trust how you're building it upon what you have, you know. And excuse me if I always point out Neverby as a really good example, because honestly, I've never seen something that really grew in that sense and actually became what it is today, and still having the love and authentic nature of art and expression in every art form whatsoever. Top notch from my view. Top notch. But yeah, I feel like a lot of artists are not really aware of like the ethos around it, you know, how to get people to like your music, the type of agency you need to be following up on to help you in like getting the start you deserve. Because I feel like another thing, agencies are also like trapping a lot of hungry artists, you know, really trapping a lot of hungry artists, and it just like traps them to be slaves in a sense, you know. It's more like some of these agents are playing their spaces off industry executives, whereby they're the ones who are out there looking for talent to exploit and shit like that. You know, I was also one. I wouldn't say I was a victim of it, but I was a victim of something similar to it. You know, I don't know. I was just like in this starting phases of talking to this agency, And there was this one agent that I was talking to. His name was Masilo. He was the only guy I was talking to, I think, from that portal, because he was like giving me the insight, telling me what's next, telling me how we should go about it, and so on and so on. But when it was time for us to meet, when it was time for us to like really be actually putting in the work, he just never was. He was never a show. He never showed up. And I think another reason why I just haven't been giving myself enough time to rest is because really I'm fighting for this platform to reach the heights that I feel like it deserves, And I felt like he was the one to hold me in that point, but to my surprise and to my benefit of knowledge and learning the situation as I did, it really showed me how a lot of people are really risking exploitation just to be caught up in the limelights with everybody else, And also another thing, I feel like it's also an issue. It's DIY ethos. I mean, like many artists are taking a DIY approach, recording, producing their own music, and building their own online presence. But that can be like, how can I say? It can also like hinder the process, or hinder the process going forward. Because also another thing, that we also have a lot of responsibilities going on a daily basis. Some of us have kids, some of us have jobs, some of us are breadwinners. There's a lot going on a daily basis, and not everybody has enough time to be out there doing everything by their own, producing on it by themselves, fighting by themselves, and the likes. It's not everybody who gets that opportunity, and even if we do get to that type of program, it's not everybody who can really like use it to really catapult themselves into the part, or into the space they want to be in. I feel like it's also another like factor when it comes to like artists really like coming up together to really like push a certain narrative when it comes to like their music. I mean, for example, I can talk about this album that was dropped last year. Not even an album, actually, it was a mixtape by like Scum Baby members, Baba Kushi and Kijana Damu, who respectfully have their own certain following that has been growing for some time now, and people have been catching on to what they've been doing and the type of songs they've been releasing, And with that tape, it really like made it much more simpler, because they already had fan base like coming along, and with the drop, it just made it much more simpler, because like that fan base managed to catapult it to eyes that needed to see it, because it was their own marketing, their own like recording, writing, like they did their own ethos like most of the times. Because I feel like they're the best examples for me to talk about like DIY ethos and really carving something that's authentic to you. Not to say that other artists are not doing it, I'm just saying they're the best example, and they have succeeded recently because of it. So it really like demands like a lot of attention towards them and respect for what they do, But yeah, back to it. Abakushi, Kijana Damu have a really healthy fan base, in a sense, A lot of the fans like their Scum Babies, like joint tapes. A lot of fans are familiar with Abakushi's style, his mixtapes, his drops throughout the years, and his, how can I say, what you call this? His consistency with the music and the quality of the music, That's also one. Then Kijana Damu, in another sense, he's still like coming into the game. He's still like dropping solo projects there and there, trying to get people to like get known to the name. So with the drop of Clothes We Had to Pray Over, it really amplified their position where they were, and it really like gave their fans the opportunity to really like ride with it the way that they did, I mean, nowadays they're still dropping merch for me, like frames. They're still dropping merch, as in frames, as in mugs, as in coasters, and the likes. They're always like potentially out there doing something just to make sure that people be catching on and be supporting them live jive straight to them, like sending money to their account straight so that they can get a physical copy of the album and stuff like that. So it really has a very, very, very different approach to how they bring upon the music and everything else. But it really, really, really plays a huge, huge difference into their arts and artistry. And I really feel like it's something that most people can take from and actually understand a certain few things. And also, I feel like another hindering, but like I feel like many artists are well aware of this one, is the collaboration and networking of artists. Artists can build strong networks by collaborating with each other, sharing resources, and building strong networks of supports. I've seen that happen in many, many, many live events that I've been to. I've spoken to many, many great people. I've met many, many great people, people who are on a higher purpose that I will never understand, but I will be at awe to see in my lifetime. And even funny enough, I even had this call yesterday from one of the people I met in the early stages of my social media. A special shout out, I don't know if he's listening, but for sure he is. A special shout out to Tate DeMarco, that Denda Marco, because actually he was like one of the people who've been like checking up on me as time goes on, just to check with, hey, oh man, how's everything? Is it still going? Are you still pushing the culture? Because we've been like out here waiting for the next review, stuff like that. I mean, like those type of yeah, those type of nuances, those type of like how can I say thought ethos, like they came back to me in a sense of like, oh, so this is someone who has been there from the early stages, and they actually saw how you've been building upon it, and they actually still there trying to see how you're gonna build upon it to even reach the highest realm that you wanted to reach. And so like you only like meet like certain people of authentic nature who have like seeing how you grow your initiative, how you grow your platform, and so on. So shout out to Tate DeMarco, actually, one of the most authentic and most highly favored people I've met in my life so far. Actually, meeting him, I feel like was a really, really good sign in a sense. So really like bring everything to like the conclusion, that as artists, we must really celebrate these times. We must amplify the voices of these artists and support their efforts to build a striving alternative music scene. We need to create a culture where artists feel empowered to express themselves authentically without feeling pressured to conform to harmful stereotypes. Let's foster a community where we can have open and honest conversations about these issues. I mean, let's support artists who are creating music that is both powerful and responsible. I mean, let's celebrate the incredible talent that is emerging from the South African alternative rock scene.